Hey, Verified News community, VNN's Brittany Harlow here for another episode of VNN Live here on a Wednesday night. Welcome to Verified News Network, VNN for short. If you're watching right now, that means you're part of our Verified News community. So thank you very much for supporting us through watching our live streams, reading our news articles, watching our videos, and all the other ways that we put out news and information about different topics. We're based here in Oklahoma, but we are in other states as well, growing our presence through independent journalism. I like to kick VNN Live off, inviting all of our viewers, audience members to take part in the conversation. You can drop a comment in the comment section there on YouTube. You can also send me an email to bharlow@verifiednews.network. Our biggest ask for all of our VNC community members is to subscribe. It's free. You just sign up for news and updates at verifiednews.network. That way you can learn more about what we do and why we do it. The next part in this process is just going through our week. It was election day, Tuesday. That was for the primary election runoffs. So hopefully everyone that had the opportunity that day, that had the time and did their research on the candidates, got out and voted on that day. Obviously, we're gearing up for the midterm elections in November, so we're going to be doing a bit of coverage. It really depends on how much funding we get. VNN has applied for a couple different grants here out of Oklahoma. And so if you're listening in this area, cross your fingers, say a prayer, and hopefully we'll be able to get a lot more funding for some much needed coverage. A couple other stories in here. There's a missing man that some information has been sent out from Muskogee Media about this man that I believe disappeared in June, was last seen in June. Over in Michigan, we had a story from our VNN Michigan reporter, Rachel Schuett, who has been working on the broadband issue, needed infrastructure updates for internet, and then, of course, access to internet. Obviously, we've learned in the last couple of years, more important than ever. And so she's going to be really diving into that space here in the coming weeks. And then this was a really cool story that I came across yesterday, and that it is good old Mayor Pete. The Pete Buttigieg over the Department of Transportation, the Secretary of Transportation, was visiting Tulsa this week. There's a $10 million reconstruction grant that a partnership between a bunch of people in Tulsa are putting in to revitalize and reconnect that area through new development that will improve, obviously, Highway 75 cut right through Greenwood and really disconnected that community and stifled growth. And so they're now, however many years later, really fixing the problems and making that area more accessible. And just a really great story there. And there's actually, it's the one of 6 projects that Oklahoma is putting through. There's another, I think there's a couple other ones in Tulsa. There's one in the city of Wagner. So really cool. Definitely read up on that story that came here. So tonight on the schedule, VNN Live, we're talking about April Wilkens. If you are not familiar with the April Wilkens case, it's hard to think about how when we started first reporting on April Wilkens, I want to say it was Um, it's been over a year now. I want to say last June or July 2021, I started researching her case and finding out what little coverage that she had as far as telling her side of the story of what happened um, more than 2 decades ago. She's currently serving a life sentence at Mabel Bassett for killing her rapist and abuser, Terry Carlton. Um, and it's crazy, this story, and just how much it's been quieted up, and how it's not gotten really in that span of 20 years that she's been serving this life sentence. The coverage was skewed, the trial was skewed obviously towards her abuser and his family, which is a millionaire family here in Tulsa. Uh, Obviously, the Carlton, you ever have listened to the radio or watched TV, you've seen one of their ads and commercials of Don Carlton Honda. So it's a very wealthy local family that she got involved with the son, and it was a lot of turmoil, a lot of criminal acts committed against her. Um, but ultimately, it led up to one night that she went to his house after, she went to her own house and found that it was wrecked, that she was not safe there. She had all of the locks had been disabled, and her power had been cut, and all these horrible things that had been done to her by her abuser that traumatized her, and feeling like she had no other options. She says she went to his house, to try to catch him in a peaceful mood and resolve the situation so she could get on with her life. But obviously, that's not what happened. He ended up raping her that night. And then, as he was attacking her, she ended up shooting him with a gun that she had found in his house and hidden on her, um, in case she needed to defend herself again, which she did. So there's a lot of crazy things that went on with that case, and that situation, and her lack of adequate representation, and really just kind of mixed with the whole idea of how women in Oklahoma should act and live their lives and submit to their husbands and that kind of thing, or not just husbands, obviously, but just men in general. That a lot of uh, research that we've done, even before April Wilkens, talking with Rhonda Bear of She Brews Coffee House, just about why that mentality is so strong here in Oklahoma, and it's really just kind of based off of that, um, powerful man, submissive woman um, ideal, I guess. It's still, as a kind of forward-thinking person, uh, hard to grasp that concept is still so deeply rooted anywhere, but it definitely is alive and well in our justice system here, which many of the laws and such haven't really been changed in 100 years. So, but we did several stories on April and her case and trying to grow awareness for the situation. She was up for parole earlier this year, or for a parole hearing to get, an application to even just get that hearing, which she has gotten that hearing in the past, but this year was denied. And so there's a lot of unfortunate hits that keep going for April Wilkens, here in her 25th year serving a life sentence for killing her abuser. Um, and I worked a lot with her niece Amanda Ross, who helped me understand a lot about the case and put a lot of connections together, and some other people that were supportive of getting April's story out there. But it was really just kind of like going up against the whole world and not a lot of people listening to what you had to say. But through conversations and their like hard efforts, obviously you if you're a follower of April Wilkens' case or anything in that realm of justice here in Oklahoma, you'll see that there was a podcast that came out that is completely dedicated to April Wilkens' case. So it's super in depth. It's put on by a couple of lawyers from Oklahoma and through the Oklahoma Appleseed. I'm going to pull up there. There we go. Sorry about that. I actually just had created some new graphics to go with tonight, but there you can see that is the Panic Button podcast for the April Wilkens case. That came out. Uh, they've been doing it for several weeks now. As you can see, that uh, last episode is episode 9. They've been releasing one every week. And so this one, we kind of touched on that she was suffering so much. April Wilkens was, at the hands of her abuser and not getting any kind of help with law enforcement. Really, that was enough to keep Terry Carlton away from her. And then so obviously this ordeal happens. She ends up killing him. And she expected, obviously, that the court system, the jury would side with her. And, like surely they would see all this evidence that I was being tortured and traumatized and all this physical evidence of abuse. But unfortunately, that is not how women are viewed in Oklahoma as, accurately what they have gone through, and especially when you're going up against really wealthy millionaires like this family. But this latest episode 9 really starts going into the court case, and you will find that April obviously, poured her heart out to the jury and the community, and was met with not a lot of great response. But this is the episode that was released this week. And so I really encourage you to check out this podcast. It's super exciting because I was talking with Colleen McCarty earlier today and was kind of just asking her for some updates on the podcast and seeing everything that was, how everything was going. And she said that they have like 11,500 listens on this podcast. And so that is absolutely incredible that they're doing so well. I was looking up a couple of things as far as their success, and um, just really great support. They were also recently profiled in Mother Jones, which is a news organization. I want to say that even NPR, I saw, um, was chatting with people from Mother Jones about that work, and we're just talking about this space and everything that um, Oklahoma Appleseed and Colleen McCarty and her team are doing in this space. And it's just really incredible um, how they have just totally like taken the reins for criminalized survivors like April Wilkens, and how much they are doing to support not only her, but so many other women that are like her in that situation. So uh, please go to their podcast and listen and support and subscribe and find out how you can help, because these women are really doing incredible work and making like really positive change in this space. A couple other things they're doing. I'm going to pull up an events page. I got some event information for you so you can mark your calendars. This first one, save the date. There's actually going to be an interim study, September 13th, Oklahoma City, the capital. I am going to try my best to make it up there that day to show support and to cover this event. It's 1 to 4. They're going to be talking about the laws, about criminalized survivorship, and all around the idea of potentially putting some laws and protections and some help in the legal system for these women, because April Wilkens is not the only person right now that's serving a sentence for fighting back against her abuser. Um, so that's really exciting to see that study is happening. That is going to be helping to lay the foundation for some actual legislation, again, with the assistance of Colleen McCarty and some lawmakers that will be collaborating for that effort. So I'm really excited to bring you more info on that. And then a little while later, on September 24th, the Center for Public Secrets is teaming up with Oklahoma Appleseed for a live podcast experience for Panic Button, the April Wilkens case. And so that is going to be held here in Tulsa from 7 to 9 on Saturday, September 24th. So that's really exciting. I encourage both you to go to both of those events. I myself am going to try to make it to both of them, but definitely to the Capitol. I want to say that when we were putting our interviews together back, I want to say it was last summer, I spoke with Representative Monroe Nichols about, he had been doing for years, several years, to get some kind of legislation passed that would help criminalized survivors, that would help, reduce their sentences after, if they were, proved that they were defending themselves, that they were suffering from battered women syndrome, which isn't even on the law books in Oklahoma, despite it um, becoming a known phenomena over 30 years ago. And so that I followed up with him to see if he was involved with that interim study that's coming up, because he had himself tried to get a similar study going, but he's actually out of town this week and will be getting back to me next week about that. But so it's really exciting. I am going to pull up a happy update too while I got you here, as far as April. Where's her response here?
You can still draw. So Sylvan, the 25th year right now, in prison. A side note, I actually recently got approved to visit her in prison. So after working with her for so many months in media, I'm looking forward to actually meeting her in person, having a little chat with her and seeing how she was doing and just having a nice visit, because I'm sure she doesn't get too many a variety of visitors in there. But as far as this video that I shared on my Brittany Harlow Facebook page recently from the Oklahoma Department of Corrections, this is something this Prison Health Initiative was something that she had said that she has been doing for a while, working on this curriculum, but I asked her about it. Maybe?
All right. I've told that my audio didn't is my home studio is leaving something to be desired. Let's see if I'm gonna keep talking and repeat what I said after I pulled this up. All right, cool. Um, as you can see, I'm my own video camera operator, tech person, and a journalist and researcher. Pretty much any hat that you could possibly wear, I am wearing them. So I'm happy that I was able to fix that audio so quickly. But you can see in that picture, please go to my Facebook page, Brittany Harlow, and check out that video that was posted from the Oklahoma Department of Corrections. I've talked with April at least once a month and have got some updates on the project she's working on. She stays so busy helping people in there at Mabel Bassett. But when I saw this video, it was exciting because she had talked so much about it before, about this health program that she is a part of at the prison. And she told me, Prison Health Initiative truly is a sisterhood. Everyone involved has been so positive, encouraging, dedicated, and hardworking. Bodies, minds, and hearts are healing and getting stronger and stronger. Witnessing the participants' physical and mental transformation has been amazing. Praise God. And so she is a firm believer, and it's her faith is really one of the most incredible things that I have gotten to witness about April, and just her strength through all of this. She's really down to earth, really empathetic and compassionate and caring, and definitely helping out a lot of women in Mabel Bassett and beyond, through her experiences. So that's pretty much what I got for you tonight here for VNN Live. One last thing I will throw up here. And that is the petition. It's another way that you can show support for April. You can see one of the latest videos that we had done is highlighted on that petition page. But this is something that was started a few months ago to commute the life sentence of abuse survivor April Wilkens. And it's just another way of showing your support, that you stand in solidarity if you feel that way, and that she shouldn't be serving a life sentence for killing her abuser. It's been a really interesting process to see a lot of different views from people involved, and even the AG, the DA, the Tulsa County DA here, still fighting to keep her behind bars, saying that they believe that she's a threat to the public, which is very interesting, because to me, I only think that she would be a threat to rapists out there. And again, that, uh, you know, I would say particularly people that attack her, uh, to me is what I see as a threat. And so it's interesting now, to think that the local DA's office still thinks after all of these years that she is a threat to the general public, whereas, uh, from the evidence and from the case and everything that was shown, was that she, was, being abused, and that she had been tortured, by this man who she ended up killing, and that she really did, kill or be killed, scenario, chose to take a life rather than, um, allowing herself to be killed. So those are the updates that I have tonight. There's a lot of them, so thank you for listening and being a part of our VNN Live tonight. As I said, those events, bookmark them, and we're going to be covering them in addition to our other coverage that we have a lot going on, but we're definitely going to keep the flame of April Wilkens uh, coverage here in Oklahoma fanned, and especially everything that Oklahoma Appleseed is doing, and the Panic Button podcast, making sure to put the word out there, because that is enormous coverage and awareness being generated for this case in particular, but also just like the whole issue of criminalized survivorship and the justice system, especially regarding women here in Oklahoma. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. As always, make sure to leave me a comment what you think and send me an email. Good, bad, ugly. I want to hear it all. And of course, hit subscribe, verifiednews.network. Catch you next week.